The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program host and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by TCN TV Network Incorporated. Due to the social nature of this broadcasting channel, videos may contain content copyrighted by another entity or person. The TCN TV Network claims no rights to the said content. TCN TV Network cannot be held accountable for the copyrighted content. TCN TV Network is a messenger and sharer of information and strives to verify but cannot warrant the accuracy of copyrights or completeness of the information on this program.
About you, but you Christ I can do all. Stand up tall with my left foot, post up on the wall. Easy to fall in the streets, life can get hard. Streets used to be a lot different from what man recall. Me a aim for my post like a soccer ball. Feel run the road that don't need a map at all. Babylon them want to hold me with a strap at all. But man a liar, me no Cancer nor Capricorn.
Though they want to see me fall, I'm gonna be okay. Though my back's against the wall, I'm gonna be okay. They fighting me now, I'm gonna be okay. Jehovah eyes are watching me now, I'm gonna be okay.
Welcome to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and we have two special guests, Papp and Marcell Wilson. How you doing? Let them know your organization, where you from. Give them a little intro.
Well, thank you for having us, Eddie. Marcell Wilson of the One by One movement. We're a collective of what we call formers. So former gang members. Sort of what makes us different is that we have former neo-Nazis, former extremists that are part of our group. And we've come together as a think tank and a speakers bureau to essentially try and shift the narrative of violence that's been, affecting our city for the past few decades. And we've come together to kind of say, hey, we can get together and do this from such crazy backgrounds. What the hell's wrong with everybody else?
Okay. So we got a little video clip. We're going to go to that and get back to you. Hope in the Six.
The Against Violent Extremism Network. I come from and work directly within the communities affected by gun violence in Toronto. I originally came here to argue that as an ex-gang leader and person with lived experience, that I do not support more restrictions for legal gun owners because of the well-known fundamental flaws in the data put forth to argue for more restrictions. But we, people with my background and lived experience, and from my organization, know that a small majority of the guns that affect the communities we work within are not or were never resourced from legal gun owners, unless they were stolen.
So I want to talk to you about that interview you had. Where was that interview at?
That was on the Senate floor.
Okay, you were talking about because you got people that are gun owners, and you were saying that like this is something separate, right? You were talking about like you don't see why they want to like put restrictions on gun owners when this is a whole isolated incident. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. That's one of our main messages that we propagate. Right? We really want to deal with the issues. So we come from these communities. We grew up with guns. We grew up with all the violence and the nonsense. So we know what we need. The kids that live in these areas know what they need in order to curb gun violence. Addressing guns is important, but the laws that they seem to be focusing on right now are really focused on legal gun ownership. That doesn't affect our communities.
That's correct. Right.
You know what I mean? Like they can pull guns away from them. That's not going to stop guns from coming into our hood.
I think people want answers. So when that's something to target and it looks good because we say, oh, we restricted this, we made this law, so everybody like, okay, we're satisfied when the problems still remain. So that's very strategic, But definitely we have people like you and your organization, One by One movement, to speak against it and say, hey, this has nothing to do with what we're dealing with.
That's
you
right.
know. So I want to talk to you a little bit. What brought you to this organization?
Well, initially I was just going to volunteer for the boxing event every month.
Okay.
And then there was a small interview at a radio show, and I said a little bit of my story, and I was like, okay, my voice needs to be heard.
Okay.
Not only my voice, but the voice of the baby moms and the wives that supported the gang members, the OGs.
So tell me about the support. What are you saying? Give me because the audience want to know what you're talking about in more clarity.
So I dated somebody who I grew up with, who was
Okay.
He was Canada's most wanted in 2003 for murder.
Okay.
And supported that person for about 10 years.
Okay.
The drugs, the guns, I did all that.
Right.
Never missed a visit. Never missed a letter.
Right.
So
what changed from that now? Hey, I don't want. I'm doing this now. What made you decide to switch over?
my boys.
Okay.
Initially, it was my boys. In the moment, when you're living in that moment, you don't see those things until you're out of it for a second, and you're like, okay, I got to get myself together. You know, so yeah, it's my kids that saved me from.
Okay. At one point, though, what age? You know.
What age?
Or when they were babies.
It was 2005 and he was murdered.
Oh, okay. So the murder was
The murder was
the part of
it.
it too.
I was like, yeah.
Okay.
Just can't. That's what woke me up.
Right. And if I may, we believe that that's one segment of all the activism we do that's never heard.
Yeah.
Is the wives, the baby mothers, the people that are indirectly affected by the stuff we do.
Definitely. I received a call recently. A mother of a young man that I'm dealing with. You know, I never met him personally. I got connected to the mother, so I've been talking to her. He got arrested out of the country, but she's like, Eddie, you need to have a woman. You need to show the woman, and I'm like, I'm working with a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she was kind of venting. She was just, they didn't release her son. He got locked up out of the country, and it just so she was stressed. But she was venting, like, you need to, have women. But we work for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, but most people are locked up, incarcerated. Is more men than it's a bigger ratio, right? But we with everybody. But we do want to have your voice. We want to hear everybody. This platform is about Hope in the Sick, so it is about the baby mothers. Right. You know, when we do jail visit, prison visits, we see all these women there. A little bit of men.
No one knows what it's like to live on the other side of that.
Definitely. So that's
right?
So we want to get into your story a little more as well. But I want to talk a little bit more about one-on-one movement. Where that name came from? What does it mean?
Okay, so we have a just one philosophy. And the philosophy is based in, we know we can't save everybody.
Right.
That's unrealistic.
Right.
Some people are so far gone, or it's too ingrained.
Right.
Whatever the cases are. But if we can kind of save just one, then we feel like we've done our job. So, one by one was appropriate.
One by one, brick by brick, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I see. I thank you for being on the show because people need to know what everybody's doing out there, and that's what the show is about, to bring different community members and display what they're doing. This is Hope in the Sick. You guys are Hope in the Sick because you're out there showing people that, hey, it doesn't have to be this way, and you got the most radical on your team, right? So we're gonna get into that too, because while you said neo-Nazi, I heard that, right?
Yeah, you heard correct. Yeah.
Yes. So that's very important to see how people could come together too, because it's about everybody. We we know that Black people are the most highly incarcerated, and then of course natives as well. However, we work with everybody, so we're not just for Blacks. Maybe they stand in the front because it's a need, you know what I'm saying, and they need to see Black people, so we're not gonna back off of that, right? However, everybody who's in the justice system, everybody who wants change, we out there to reach out, throw out that lifeline, and help everybody. So we're all inclusive, but this is just so powerful, and I think I need to talk about it more, like go out more, like have like more interaction in the street. You know what I mean? I seen you on the news a few times, so I know you're out there. So we definitely have to get together and collaborate more, because I think we crossed paths a few times, right?
Yeah, we have.
You know what I'm saying? So we're seeing it. It's like, but everything is in the right time, right?
Yeah.
So now is the time for us to get out there, let people know about one by one movement. I want to briefly, before we go to a commercial break, you tell me a little bit, or not tell me, but tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your background.
Okay. I was raised in the projects here in a place called Swansea Mews. So back then it was Metro Toronto housing. A few incidents in my life led me to joining a gang and then becoming one of the higher level members of that gang, Looney Tunes, Tiny Tunes. Sort of moved on to that becoming a blood sect for the neighborhood that I grew up in, and I became the leader of that particular neighborhood group. But at the time, the gang that I was a part of was probably the largest black gang in this country and probably in the history of this country.
Okay, I actually work with a pastor that said he had like rivals with, I think, your gang actually. You ever heard of he was he's a pastor now, but he was a gang member. Spanish, they call them LA boys. Have you heard of them?
Of course.
Maybe you should have him come on, you know what I mean? But yes, LA boys. So when I met him, he kind of mentioned the beef that he had and all that stuff. But we got to go to a break. We'll be back. One-on-one movement, one-by-one movement, Hope in the Six.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
I got this feeling, she wanna love this, or it's a passion for the killing. Sneak in a bot like a cobra, catch me when I'm sober, so I can take the situation. You haven't said a word, but I can hear what you're saying. I get away from my clan and you lose your man. That might lead to separation. You may hold the seat to my next generation. That's only if you're lucky. If things don't work out, then just
I romanticize and analyzing how I met you. It was a dream, baby boo, but I'm glad it came true. You looking sweet with your head down low. You said hello. I turned around and I saw a mighty nice fellow with your rugged style. Or could I be the female in your life? Oh, boy, living trite. We could you my husband, I'm your wife. Fulfilling fantasies in paradise. Inventing foreplay, we're using ice. You bitch, I'm smooth and nice, Poppy. You walk like the John Gotti, waiting for this hottie. Physically fit, be my body. Your whole crew clocks me. I know that y'all wanna rock me. At least my gold, I ain't no slacker, son, I'm sorry.
passion instead. If nobody knows you, nobody cares. Passion instead.
My eyes are gorgeous, sweet highness, that looks like Princess Leia. Says she don't like to talk to players, but little does she know up in this game I'll be the mayor. This man say ya, chicks off for kids. Rob you for your livings, give you cradles and cribs. Honey was drooling on my money, told her invest in a bit. Like she wanted me for everything, even my ribs. Dressed in Versace, flashing my jewels and Liberace.
Welcome back to Hope in the Six. I'm your host Eddie Martinez, and today we have One by One Movement, Ina and Marcell. Yeah, crooks of the round table?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, crooks of the round table. Now we're sitting at a table on a different mental capacity, different mind state. But that was bars, bro. I want to just rate you on those lyrical skills. Kind of have a Wu-Tang kind of lyricalism and all that. But crooks of the round table sound like organized crime. You talked about you talked about being a gang member and all these things. We know how it was, you know what I'm saying? I grew up on the streets as well, and I know before I moved down south, my life changed around. I was in New York, and before I moved, I was going to actually be joining a gang. I was recruited, you know what I'm saying? But thank God that my mom moved, and my whole mental state switched. But music, this is important to show these young ones because you look sophisticated, you articulate yourself well. Nobody would associate you guys with anything of crime, you know what I'm saying? You just look like a model citizen or just a good guy, you know what I'm saying? But you're coming from a place where you're like, listen, you know, we could get it in. So talk to me about how did you change from that? Like you know, crooks of the round table to now one by one movement.
Okay, so yeah, the music then was kind of an outlet, an extension of what I was doing.
Yes.
At that time, I was an active gang member. And it was just a way to express frustrations we were going through. We did quite well. We did our distribution through Sony. You know, we did records with EMI, but we were on our way to doing well. And then there was sort of a crossroads where it was like I could take the music route and become a professional musician, or, you know, keep hustling and making money. And at the time, I thought that that's what was right. So I took the crime route over the music route, which I greatly regret right now.
Right. And artists of today, this is a good topic and good place to talk about, things to talk about, because a lot of artists that have potential, they kind of confuse like criminal, rapper. You understand what I'm saying? And they merge the two. and then they start talking about themselves. Oh yeah, I sold drugs to the police.
They rat on
You know what I'm saying? I
themselves.
shot this guy in the arm, and you know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's just a mess.
Yeah.
But going to you,
Self-snitching.
like you talked about working. You know, your boyfriend was a big time notorious man in Toronto. You know, wanted. You dealing with drugs, hiding them. You know, what I mean, I know the story, man. You know, we've been there, done that. Family members, they, you know, hiding drugs for them and cars in their name and all that. So, how hard is it to get? Because you said if he did, the death and your children kind of made you want to change. Yeah. So I want you to speak to how hard it is actually to pull away from that. Like how were you like drawn in? Was it love? Was it, you know what I mean? What was it?
Sure, it was love, right? I was 17 and up until 25, like it's a big time in my life. It's a time when you're super insecure. So once you're giving that person that love that they're lacking, it makes you feel better.
Okay.
Right?
Yes,
so,
yes,
right?
yes,
so it's
yes,
that
yes.
tug and
Okay,
that tug and pull battle
right.
of like, I love you, I hate you, right? But I'm going to support you through all the shit that you're going through, right? So
I had a conversation with somebody, and I want a woman's perspective, because it's won't be a male chauvinist type thing. Yeah. But what I was saying to this young girl that I work with, I was saying that women have the power. Let me just say, validate it or not. You know what I'm saying? You know, women have the power to make the real change. Let me explain what I mean. And I believe, because men want the girls, you know, so what the girls like the gangsters. You see how it works? Like, so the girl like the bad man, because if I'm not a bad man, you know, girls they will overlook me. I need like a little criminal charge. I need to sell dope here on the side. I need to be like the man. So those are the people that the woman kind of like. Yeah. So everybody wants to be that person, not for the love of the drugs or the crime, but it's for the woman. I think it's the woman. I think it's what the woman comes with it. You know what I'm saying? The rappers, a lot of people want to rap because it comes with a life. It comes with a woman and girls and money and all these things. So I think there's some level of, and I'm not putting the blame, I'm just saying, if the woman don't want that person, it will kind of shift. And hear me, and I want to say, this is where the question is. If a woman want a guy who's educated, who got a job and who's doing his thing, I think men want to please women, so they kind of want to do. And that's perspective. Of course, you got your perspective too. Right. But do that make sense a little, or where does that fit in?
It makes sense, because when I'm thinking about it, back then, that's what I wanted. I wanted that guy that had that power and that money and all that stuff. And then now, do I want a guy who's educated and has his stuff together? For sure. Right. You know what I mean? So it's...
Well, that's actually a message we've been propagating for a while, and sometimes we get in trouble for it. Where, you know, if women, there was a time where women were attracted to men with calluses on their hands. That was sexy, because that meant stability.
Yes.
Right? So we need to bring that back. We need to make calluses on the hands sexy
That's right,
again.
That's right.
We need to make education sexy again.
Right,
but sometimes we get in trouble just for speaking on that point. So if these young ladies were into men that had pink hair and pop bellies and wore no shoes, everyone would have pink hair, pop bellies, and wear no shoes. Right? So it goes back to the nature of the beast. And they really do have a lot more power. So we need to empower them in order to turn around and empower us.
Right.
You know,
because if the women are turning away, then what the men, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, I'm not attracted to that. Because a lot of men, of course, especially when you first start dating somebody, you holding door and you doing all these things, right? Because you're trying to please that person. So I think we probably need to get like a woman group or a woman conference or something to now speak to that. Like, young ladies, what do you want? You want... And I'm affected by this because when I go to do my prison or my jail visits, mostly jail visits, I see all these women, you know, some places they talk behind on a video screen or somebody the glass, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's what you want? Like, you want to be there with your baby and this is that's the life you really want? Like, so we need to really now redirect the thought process. Let's go to one more video before we go to a commercial break. Open the 6, one by one movement.
I believe that would be the gun of choice. And when someone does have a weapon like that, something that is of an automatic capability, that's a closely guarded gun, I would imagine.
It's gold, absolutely, because it gives you power.
The guns are are they hidden in certain places around neighborhoods, under the trash can, under the car? Is there, are they placed in certain spots? Should you need a weapon?
Okay, I speak again for me and my community at the time. That's exactly how we did it. They're the community weapons, right? We had our personal weapons, but then there was community weapons where they were set up strategically so that if something happened, anyone could have easy access. Again, a lot of the work I do now is based on trying to redeem retribution of some of that, of some of my responsibility in what's happening now. You know, I feel personally responsible for some of it.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Welcome back to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today we have One by One Movement. At this portion of our show, we get into now reading newsletters from the jail or letters from inmates directly to me, right? So we want to highlight them. We want to give them a voice. So we're going to read cell count. It says for prisoners, ex-prisoners, and their families, and now the viewers as well. So I'm just going to read a little portion of the article. It talks about, it's called Self-Care on the Inside. And it says, Cell Count would like to thank the Sylvia Rivera Project in New York for giving us permission to reprint this excerpt from their publication, Self-Care on the Inside Guide, written by Everett Rendetti. So this one, just a little small portion, it says, get creative. Whether it's writing, drawing, or making music, expressing our story or our experience can be an important tool to help us let go of emotion, pain, and or trauma. Creative expression can use our whole body and brain, and this helps us to remove trauma from where it may be stuck inside of us. We can create something. We have the option of sharing our art with our community, whether it's beautiful drawing or a letter. Turning our pain into creativity can be a powerful experience both for us and for others. That's blessed, because guess what happened? That is what it is. It is what it is, because a lot of youth are people that are in prison. Most of them, when I go see them, yo, Eddie, I got some bars. I said, man, you buying bars? What much bars you need? Nah, joking. But I let them go. I let them go. They rap. They express themselves. Yeah. But I say, what's your plans for like when you get out? Well, I'm just gonna hit the studio. Some of them. Some of them kind of have a little plan, but some of them are just really stuck in the music. So I'm not going to say nothing negative. All I'm going to say is that, well, listen, music is hard out there. You may not make it. It's a dime a dozen. Everybody raps nowadays. Everybody doing something. What going to make you stand out? You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Perfect your craft. Make sure what you're talking about, everybody can relate. Like, and I just try to feed them to say, get deep. You know what I'm saying? But I don't discourage them. Keep writing, because sometimes this is all you have. You in your cell every day and you're just writing rhymes and rhymes and rhymes. Some of them are actually extremely talented, you know what I'm saying? However, we want to be realistic, you know what I'm saying? So there's not a lot of opportunities for that, but maybe producing, maybe engineering. So I kind of give some suggestions, you know what I'm saying? Right. But this article is powerful because it talks about letting go trauma. And me as a young boy, I grew up and you know, father on drugs and in prison, wanted, you know what I mean? Same similar situation to you. Like, so I've been there with all that stuff. So music was my way out, man. Poverty is around me, drugs is around me, gangs, all that negative was around me. Music was my way out. It's like a relief from depression. And then you just put it in bars. You know what I'm saying? So I will encourage the rappers today to not commit the crimes no more. Just put it in the rhyme, like vent out. You know what I'm saying? So because you was an artist as well, and that's why I really want to just kind of tap into this. when you wrote lyrics, what was your message? I mean, of course you were a street guy, so it probably wasn't positive. It was just real, right? But what did it do for you therapeutically? Was it any help for you mentally?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As far as it being a form of expression, that's what we were doing. We were talking about the lifestyle we lived, but we also talked about things we wanted to see change, things that we wanted to help change. So we kind of had that forethought from that era. That's like late 90s, right? And we had already seen the city kind of going in this direction because we were partially responsible for it. You know what I mean? So it's a fantastic way of releasing oneself, and be, you know, the truer you are on that piece of paper, the better it feels getting it out. So I now suffer from post-traumatic stress. I talk about it. I never used to, but that it's still a way that I use to kind of use as a therapy, I guess, to let my feelings out. But as far as brothers who are trying to make music out there, and I'm speaking to them directly, it's like any other business. So having these dreams of grandeur, one of the things we like to focus on is things like financial literacy, things they don't teach you in school, right? So just simple things, opening a bank account, and then I have great mentors, like my friend and CEO, Savino Griezi, who's here with us today in the studio.
Shout out to Savino. There you go.
Who mentor me in things like business, right? So, it's great to have a craft. It's great to have a talent. But how do you package that?
Definitely.
And it's like anything else. It's like selling insurance. It's like selling McDonald's. You got to have a business plan. You have to know your angles. You have to know your target market. You have to, you have to have accounting. So the same applies to music. It's a business, and you got to learn the business side of it. You could be talented as hell. That's why there's so much crap music out there. Them guys know business, not music.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I tell them the same thing. I said, listen, you got to market yourself. You got to sell yourself. You got to stand out. You're an artist. You can't just blend in with the audience. You got to stand out. People got to look at you and say that's an artist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because like I said, I've been doing music from a little kid, so I kind of been through that. Shout out to my sister Sasha. She's a famous reggae artist. She sung a song with Sean Paul. I'm still in love.
Oh, okay, cool.
With you. Shout out Sasha. That's my big sister.
My dad is an ex-reggae artist too.
So my mom used to sing reggae back in the days as well. So it's in the family, But so we know music. So we don't want to discourage people's dreams. We kind of just tell them like you're the
be real.
You're the business. Sell yourself. Make me want to buy it. Make me see you and want to hear you first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't let me say, okay, let me hear. I want to say, oh man, who's that? You an artist? What you? Oh, sell yourself like a commercial. You got to advertise. So these are things. But I want to go back to before we went to the break. You had a news interview and you were showing the guy the leg that you got shot and you said that was what changed your life.
Oh no, it was one of the
elements. One of the
incidents.
Yeah. So tell me what happened after you got shot. What was your thought process? What made it? And what made you say this is it?
Okay, well, the getting shot part, it started the thinking that I wasn't invincible anymore. Right, I kind of used to have that demeanor, and I didn't operate as like a normal street level gang guy. That's one thing that people get twisted about me. I was more on the organized crime side of things, and I was always at the higher echelons of things. So I never acted what you would consider typical when it comes to gang stuff. So when things were actually now coming at me and bullets are coming in my direction, I'm like, okay, this is I ain't bulletproof.
That's right.
So that's what got the clock ticking. I was active for maybe about a decade after that happened. I was still active, but I mean that's what got the wheels starting to turn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. But we think I'm grateful for any life experience. Things that trigger change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was a young street youth and I was going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I didn't value working at McDonald's. I used to laugh at people working at McDonald's. Right. But I'm on my bicycle selling. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a loser. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know better. That's the way of the culture. That's what it was. Culture, but things triggered. Like I said, my mom's moved me down south, and we had a different life experience. People in high school driving cars, 16 years old.
Yeah.
While I'm on the bus, I'm like, something wrong with this. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of got the education and switched up my gears. But so we try to tell the youth the same thing. We gotta go to a portion of our show called Bars for Bars. It's for those on the outside who rap, sing poetry, for those on the inside. Like we share the voice, inside out, outside in. So we're going over to Jason Fresh for Bars for Bars. Hope in the Six, one by one movement. Welcome to Hope in the Six. I'm your host Eddie Martinez.
We are the North. We are the strong and free. Love is our symphony.
Alpha. I'm the founder of Directed Life, and I'm hoping 6.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm the streaming services lawyer, and I'm hoping 6.
Police Constable Dale Smith, aka Smith, and I am hoping 6.
My name is Jason Farkason, and I'm a youth worker, and I am hoping 6.
Second, I am hoping 6.
I'm Cameron, and I'm hoping the 6.
My name's Ramsey, and I'm hoping the 6.
We are Toronto, united we stand, hand to hand, let's go, 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 go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. May your dreams all come true. Happy birthday to you.
refuse to promote, report on anything negative in the community.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jason Fresh, part of the Hope team. This is Bars for Bars, and we got KG47.
Spiritual electricity brings me closer to my Trinity. Sun connecting with the feminine moon to free our star seed. Bringing in the blessings to free future generations. Lift the veil of this matrix, take it off like a latex to feel the pureness of creation. Astral travel with the constellations, have patience. Inhale, exhalations, feel the transformations of meditations through activations, increasing vibrations. Find your Neo, cause we are all one, power and numbers. Kundalini rising, giving us liberation and free energy. Everything within is hidden, waiting to unlock with infinite potential. Open up your third eye vision, raising the awareness within and the wisdom. Clear the void, because we were not born to destroy but create. It is in every soul's faith to raise the consciousness grid and taste the blessed fruits that the mother and the son make. Along with the sacred waters that give life, God give, God take. It's never too late to change. Learn the Gnostics from the elders, ancestors, ancient civilizations, create nations.
Welcome back to Hope in the Six. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and we have Marcell and we have Ina from One by One Movement. And Savino, we ain't gonna forget about you. This is, I want to shout out to Jason Fresh, the street team, and KG47. There's a lot of talent in Toronto, you know what I'm saying? So you could hit me up on Instagram at The Dying Thief and send me a link if you want to do your bars for bars. I will highlight artists because we want to give everybody a platform.
Jay Breezy.
Jay Breezy.
Yeah, that's my son. Yeah.
Oh, Jay Breezy next. They calling you out one by one. Come on, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we want to highlight everybody. You know what I'm saying? But we definitely want you to think about what you're saying though, because we're not just sending any message out.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
I got much, foolishness. We want sound words, man. Like, you know what I mean? And my poet artists, they raise the bar high. You know, because the poet artists they go very deep. You know what I'm saying? So rappers, step y'all game up, but we will highlight you. Singers, come out, do your thing. You know, it's Hope in the Six. Everybody, it takes a community, as your movement says, one by one. Right. You know what I'm saying? I want to get back to a part, but I don't want to miss because time is moving. But you talk about having neo-Nazi in your clique.
Yes.
How did that even happen? And tell me about it a little bit more.
All right. So getting into this kind of work, I wrote a book. Mm-hmm. And part of the segment of my book was used in a criminology course. Mm-hmm. That led to a documentary with CBC on a panel that I was sitting on. I did this panel, and they brought in these ex-neo-Nazis, leaders of some of the largest groups in North America. Then I was reached out to by a group called Against Violent Extremism, that's ran by ISD, Institute for Strategic Dialogue, based in the UK. And this is all under Google Ideas and organizations like UNESCO, the UN, and they asked me to, be a part of this group about spreading a message of nonviolence and attacking, combating extreme violence throughout the world. So I end up meeting, leaders, not just one, many of different Nazi organizations of here and in the U.S. And they put us, like, lock us in a room together with former, like, extremists, like Al-Qaeda members. And they kind of just let us talk. And it's funny because we now base a conflict resolution workshop that we have on the same type of interaction.
That's awesome.
Where when you put different people, whether it's different crews or different gangs, different, in the same room, and you kind of lock them in there. And not like jail, it's more, more organized.
Right.
And you let them just talk. After talking, we started realizing that our trajectories, the paths we took, though there were different organizations, our histories were very similar. As far as, poverty, abuse, drug abuse in the homes, lack of food, of education, whatever it may be, and we started connecting on a human level.
Okay. I wouldn't even think that, you know what I'm saying? So I guess the conversation needs to happen.
You know what I'm
saying?
But I mean,
but it's still hard to sit in a room with that type of energy still. But it takes
shout out Brad, and you know what? This
All
dude is probably like my very, very good friend right now. And he's a former neo-Nazi. I'm a
Oh,
former
yeah?
leader of a black gang.
So he probably was probably wasn't a in-depth neo-Nazi.
He was a leader.
You what?
He was the leader.
But because some people are lost in racism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? KKK or whatever organization, skinheads. Some people are so filled with hate they have no room to breathe. You know what I'm saying? But then you have some people, just like the criminal justice system. You have people that commit crime, but they're not like. I mean, they did a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? But somewhere in there is a heart. Somewhere there's compassion. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's what allows you to change. You know what I'm saying? Because you have the other guy who will kill without mercy, and he's never going to change. You know what I'm saying? And so those are some levels. But
it's hard for me to believe that.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
That nobody, even the worst that I know, guys like her baby father, who was accused of 8 murders.
Right.
People would call him an animal.
Right.
People call my brothers that I work with and sisters that I work with animals. No, these are people who have been through traumatic experiences. Right. I think everyone starts off with that light inside them.
Right.
You can tell right from wrong. You know the difference.
Right.
It's just something happened in your life that made you say, screw this.
Right.
And go all the way that way.
Right.
So when I look at a neo-Nazi who's telling me their story, and I first come into that room with like a defense shield up, and I start hearing the stories, and same with like an Al-Qaeda guy who I don't believe in any of those philosophies, you know what I mean? But once I hear their traumas, things they went through, you can kind of get a better understanding. So that they're not so much an animal.
Right. Well, those who show up.
Yeah.
If you show up to the table, that means some part of you want to change.
Well,
So
it's almost like the restorative justice piece, right? So when he first got arrested, I went to visit him, and there was 2 guys in the visiting room, and I kind of felt something weird. After me and the boys left, they pulled a gun on us, and that was 15 years ago. And parts of me want to sit down and talk to them. You know what I mean? To say, hey, like, this is what you did. This is what you put us through.
Yes.
My son was 3, and he still remembers that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's now 19.
Definitely.
So those traumas could have ended up leading her sons down the same path as their father.
Definitely.
They work with us now, and they've done some fantastic things. But I think that happens to a lot of these young people, right? I'm responsible for it too. A lot of youngins looked up to me in the areas I came from, Parkdale, Swansea Mews, Lakeshore Strip, and they were like, yeah, I want to be like this dude. But they had a false vision of who I really was. They seen the exterior. They never really got to talking to me, because then they know I'm a nice dude.
Right.
I was just a fickle business person, I guess you could say.
All right. But that's interesting. But it is definitely important and powerful to now sit down and talk. Let's work it out. You know what I'm saying? Because I work with some youth that try to kill me, like want to literally knife and everything. But I said I'm gonna talk to that person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it takes that. You know what I'm saying? But not everybody is ready to change. I go by the name. My rap name is Dying Thief, and the philosophy is the 2 thieves on the cross with Christ. You know what I'm saying? One didn't care. He like, yo, man, blah blah, save us if you. But he didn't care. He had no remorse. But then you had the one that want to change.
Right.
Those who want to change, we can help them. And like you said, we got to be realistic. Everybody don't want to change. Not everybody can change. Some people are just. I mean, even if it's their circumstances, some people got something off in the brain or whatever.
Mental health.
You got the Hitlers that are just Hitler, just filled with poison and wickedness. That is nothing. But somebody under his regime, you could say, yo, come here. Let me show you. Look at black people. Look at them, and they say, "Oh my God, I didn't know." And start to get compassionate for another. You know what I'm saying? So there's those type of elements. But this is powerful. I love what you guys are doing, and we need to talk more. It's bigger than this platform. It's bigger than just being on this. But I want people to see it. You know what I'm saying? Because too much bad press, too much negative news, so much things that are like, just want to instill fear.
That's right.
But what we need to do is instill hope. There's
right.
hope out there. There's hope for change. There's positivity there. And once people start to grasp it and connect, you see the change. We got to go to one more video. We're going to go to video, then we're going to go to a commercial. Hope in the 6, one by one movement.
95 homicides this year.
Yes, it really, really does, because these are kids. I know they're portrayed as gangsters and as bad people, but being from these places, people might call me a bad guy. I don't think I'm a bad guy. I think I'm a good guy who did bad things.
Marcell Wilson is a former gang member now fighting the very type of crime he spent years committing.
I was an ex-gang leader of a very large gang in this city in the early 90s to the mid-2000s. A blood-based gang called the Looney Tunes, Tiny Toons.
Until he was shot. Then a moment of realization led to transformation.
So I think a lot of these young guys don't really realize the future that they're laying out, not just for themselves, but for all the people that love them and the people around them that may not be involved in any type of crime.
One by One movement plans to tackle the issue of gun violence with a number of efforts because they say there is no one cookie-cutter solution.
A lot of people have fallen through the gaps. So people with lived experience, we can connect with these people on a human level, on a personal level. We understand their plights, we understand the struggle.
Hello everyone, my name is Jermaine Chambers, and I'm very excited to tell you about the newest political and current affairs program coming here to Brampton. It's called On Point.
The first step of true reconciliation is learning more about one another.
Join us on Tuesdays from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. as we discuss all the issues.
I will never forget the trust you put in me.
Municipal, provincial, federal, and any issue of national importance, we will talk about on Point. So do join us.
Welcome back to Hope in the 6. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and today we have Marcell Wilson and Papp. Blessings, one by one movement. This is so powerful time. You will slip away when you're having good conversations. There's so many things we could talk about, but I actually want you guys to now, plug in, tell people how to get in touch with you. What are your internet, social media handles and stuff like that, and what are you doing? Like something, your last word or something like that.
Well, right now we're doing some programming. We came up with 2 programs for girls and for boys. The girls program is GEMS, which is Girls Empowerment and Mentoring Support. When creating it, I sat with Marcell and kind of had a conversation of what did you need as a young boy and what did you need as a young girl. So being that insecure girl, we want these girls to feel empowered and be empowered leaders. So mental health stuff that we're going to touch on, self-esteem, body image, healthy relationships, unhealthy relationships.
Nice.
As Marcell said, the financial literacy piece. So we're going to run the boys and girls program at the same time and then kind of connect them together. And, yeah.
All right, so Young Men's it runs parallel with GEMS. Same value system, teaching kids things that are not taught in everyday school or maybe even in their communities. And to find out more, you go to www.theonebyOnemovement.com, or you can find us on our Facebook page, which is the One by One Movement, or IG, Twitter, so you can follow us and see what we're doing. I'd like to give a shout out to our mentors, Lewis March, Zero Gun Violence Movement, Communities for Zero Violence, and all the groups out there that are trying to make real change. Thank you for what you do.
Let's Hope in the 6. I gotta.
I want to actually shout out my boys.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Nathan and Javon for holding me down, because if it wasn't for them, I'd probably be crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
family support.
On a different crazy, right? The teenage craziness is not enough.
That's so blessed. I'm gonna read a little final word. It's the title of Youth. But if you've been following the show, I've been reading Community, The Structure of Belonging by Peter Block. This is an awesome book. I'm almost finished, but I always every now and then share a little piece because I read something and it's powerful. You mentioned your book. Can you? Is it coming out soon?
Soon. I got some chapters. I can send you some pre-chapters.
Okay. What's the name of the book?
Chronicles of a Changed Man.
Chronicles of a Changed Man, coming soon. One by One Movement. So I'm gonna read this. It says, "Youth are a unifying force in community. Hard to argue against that the next generation. An alternative future opens when we shift our view of youth. Say 14 to 24 years old, from problem to possibility, from deficiency to gift. When you drive by a street corner and you see young people hanging out at odd hours making a living in odd ways, we can view them as having gifts waiting to be given, rather than being problems waiting to be solved. If you notice that they are dealing drugs, you hold the thought that they have entrepreneurial skills.
That's right.
It is just aimed in the wrong direction. If you are concerned that they are not in school, well, they are learning something, just not what we had in mind. Someone recently said that for youth who have dropped out of school and who have no support system around them, the street corner is the only classroom that welcomes them and is available to them. It has no entrance requirements, and it is open 24 hours a day. Is this way of thinking true? Not exactly, but it's useful because it puts us in a more forgiving stance.
Amen.
You know, amen. And you said something in that video clip that it was like not a bad kid, but made bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, people make bad decisions. Not everybody's just bad. And if we could think about the gifts, you know what I'm saying, not the deficiencies, and we change the narrative, we could really have a possibility of a better future. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming on the show. One by one movement. Hoping the 6th. Keep watching. Support positivity. Bless.
I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm gonna be okay. I will fear no evil, that will my rod and my staff. I'm gonna be okay. Thou preparest a table before me in front of my enemies. I'm gonna be okay. Thou anointed my head with oil, and my cup runneth over. All on my shoulder, I'm a soldier, thought I told you. Run with Jehovah, so nobody can test. Every day of my life I'm blessed, yes.